following is a presentation of TFNN. The Global Market Pulse with your host, John Logan. Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044. Now, John Logan.
Welcome to Living a Primal Lifestyle. Welcome. I'm Nico to Haan here. And, there's a little glitch when we start, but it's freezing here in Florida, so you can understand the computers are going crazy. This is Living a Primal Lifestyle, where we explore a return to a more balanced, wild, natural world,
where we can recover our natural health, our rights, and our freedoms. I'm Paige Clarke.
And it's a beautiful morning here in downtown Clearwater. It's 45 degrees, or 55 degrees. Yeah, 55 degrees.
Please,
but it feels like 45 to us, though, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. We got our sweaters on. I just recycled again. Please subscribe to our Health Signals newsletter. Some of the greatest up-to-date information on health and wellness and that you can find.
That's right, and please pick up some Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. This is the one-shot wonder we always talk about. It's something that Paige formulated. I had a little hand in it, and we think this is just something that you need to start your day with, and we certainly start our days with the Primal Edge every morning.
And you can use your discounted Tiger dollars, so just go back into the TFNN site and take advantage of that opportunity.
Yes, and we are taking your phone calls at 877-927-6648. By the way, you can reach Nico, myself, at nico@tfnn.com.
And you can reach me at paige@tfnn.com.
Yeah, if you have any suggestions for the show, some topics you'd like us to discuss, or just some questions, we'll be glad to take those and answer them for you promptly.
There you go.
Here we are.
I really love this article because, this is one of my passions, is epigenetics. We hear a lot about gene study, but really the real science is focusing on epigenetics, and epi means above the genes. What's more impactful than the genes? Mm-hmm. And this article that we're looking at, the definitive guide to using your recent ancestry to determine your optimal diet. People are starting to use genetic information, not just for drug and disease research, but for prevention, and I like that.
Yeah, I have a history. I was born in Holland, in the Netherlands, and my uncle, a few years back, started investigating his ancestry and went back from his mother's side, all the females from that mother's side, and we were actually down to like 1080 AD in North Holland. So my ancestry pretty well. Of course, it's pretty well fixed into Holland. Of course, if you take the father's side, maybe a different lineage, and if you go, start skipping mother, father, there's all kinds of lines you can follow. But I think the DNA test, of course, really nails it. You were telling me just before we started that you have the kit and you're getting ready to take that, and I think I'm going to do the same thing, because you were telling me it gives you a really comprehensive view of your whole ancestry.
The one that I actually have has more of a the one I have is not necessarily ancestry. There's another test for that. This one is based on your genetic profile.
Oh.
What lifestyle, what foods, what movement, what exercise. Do you do better with a high-intensity cardio? Are you better for strength training?
That may be more important then.
Well, I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. And so, you can get these reports that you can use. And again, these are all tools to help you, because we're all on a self-healing journey today.
Yeah.
I think we realize that the ones we've been waiting for to make us well are ourselves.
True.
And to kind of plug into doing that.
Yeah.
For example, on this test, you can find out, how different people might adapt well in a low oxygen environment versus a high oxygen environment based on their ancestry.
Right. Yeah, one way is to directly test your genes using a service that analyzes your DNA and provides gene-based dietary, exercise, and lifestyle advice.
That's what we're talking about there.
Yeah, and this is what Mark Sesson had brought out the other day, and he actually tested it, whether you're taking more vitamin D, if you're eating more fat, as your ancestors did.
It picks up whether or not you have the vitamin D receptor gene difference, It gives you a little information of whether or not you have the MTHFR gene, which we'll talk about in just a minute. But, really, kind of gives you an idea of what are the unique genetic proclivities, that you see in different populations.
Well, it's important to me because I started really, I still remember the food that my mother fixed in Holland and also in Canada when we migrated there, and then kind of a mixture took place. Certainly, I've been in Florida since 1975, so, I'm pretty well acclimated, I would say, to Florida weather and the climate here, and probably some of the indigenous plants and animals that live here. But I find it really interesting that when I do eat my traditional foods, I feel really good. Some of the real nutrition ones, we did a lot of fermenting in Holland. We did a lot of pickling. We did sauerkraut.
Any cold climate, they're having to do that. They're preparing for storage away.
Right.
But, let's get back to a little bit about the MTHFR, which sounds kind of funny. Methyl tetrahydrofolate reductase gene. We knew about this gene when we formulated the Primal Edge, because what we know is that some people are poor methylators. What does methylation mean? Methylation is breaking things down, so to use the fully methylated form, you're breaking it down into the most usable form. And what we have found through epigenetic testing is that somewhere, and listen to this spread, Nico, somewhere between 40 and 90%, isn't that an interesting spread, of the people have this genetic defect of not being able to utilize and break down folate. And why is folate so important? Because folate is important for breaking down processes and having proper gene expression. When we don't have proper folate, and you find folate in animal foods and you find it in deep leafy vegetables, when you don't have it, you can see some increase in birth defects. Poor methylation status will create numerous health issues, and it also increases poor fetal survival.
And when you say gene expression, what you're really talking about, as far as what I'm concerned, is that your genes are doing the right natural thing. They're not being disrupted by maybe drugs that you're taking,
I call it ideal,
environmental issues.
Right, ideal gene expression. You can have the gun pointed to your head, but do you pull the trigger?
Right.
And what we know is that genes, less than 10%, it's actually closer to 2% of all genes are hard-coded. And somehow or another, the mainstream media kind of makes you think that you don't have any control, but you do have control, because the way you control your gene expression is by lifestyle. And we are living a primal lifestyle and teaching you how to do it.
And the number here is 877-927-6648, and that gives you control to talk to us. So we'll be right back in a few minutes. You know what's cool? Taking something that's good for you. Something specifically formulated to help with weight loss, better sleep, stress reduction, and the need to detox.
Nico, our hunter and gatherer ancestors found all their nutritional requirements for health in their wild environment. But today, our food sources no longer contain the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients our bodies need to stay healthy and strong.
That's why we need Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. It includes a special blend of ionic, soil-based vitamins, minerals, fatty, and amino acids in an easy-to-use liquid form.
Primal Edge is powered by highly concentrated fulvic and humic acids, nature's preferred delivery system. They have been called miracle molecules because, like sunlight, air, and water, life cannot exist without them.
That's right, Paige. They ensure we receive all the nutrition we need to be healthy and thrive. We take it every morning.
Primal Edge, formulated and approved by Nico and Paige of Living a Primal Lifestyle. Buy it today for just $89. Click on the Primal Edge banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Platinum, grains, crude oil, gold, copper, cattle, hogs, gasoline, natural gas, coffee, cotton, cocoa, and sugar. These are just some of the commodities mentioned in the most recent issue of Andy Hecht's Technomental Commodity Report. Andy publishes his weekly newsletter every Thursday morning, where he breaks down the commodity market and provides his subscribers with specific trading recommendations based on his trading methodology. By signing up for a free trial to the Technomental Commodity Report, you'll get a full 30 days to try out this powerful newsletter service and see for yourself the types of trades Andy has recommended for his subscribers. When you sign up for a 30-day free trial, you're under no obligation to pay anything. And should you decide to continue, you will lock in the low rate of only $79 a month. Sign up right now for the Techno-Mental Commodity Report and make sure you're ready to catch the next big trade in commodities. For more information and to get started today, visit the front page of TFNN.com.
You take a hands-on approach to managing your investments, and whether you're bullish or bearish on Chinese stocks, the ETFs from Direction Shares are there to help you magnify your perspective. Bull ETFs for a rising market and bear ETFs for a falling market. Direction Shares gives you the tools for both sides of the trade. Discover how we can help at DirectionShares.com today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction Shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction Shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction Shares at 800-851-0511. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors employing dynamic strategies. Investors in the fund should understand the consequences of seeking daily investment results, understand the risk of shorting, and intend to actively monitor and manage their investments. Distributor Foresight Fund Services, LLC.
Nico and Paige take your phone calls now. Toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044.
Welcome back to Living a Primal Lifestyle. You know, Paige, we often talk about...
Loving our livers.
Yeah, exactly. And it's so important because we have so many toxins these days. Environmental toxins, toxins in our food, toxins in our water. You know, it almost feels like it's an ongoing battle to have this liver functioning properly. Hopefully it's functioning properly, because you don't, you're in a world of trouble.
Yeah, it's really the most multitasking organ in the body, quite frankly. And, you know, ancient practitioners actually thought the liver was one of the primary organs that needed to be treated in sick patients.
It's the largest and the hardest working organ we have.
And luckily, it is mostly regenerative. You know, it can heal itself. The liver is rather self-healing as opposed to many, can rebuild itself. You can have a lot of liver damage and it will recover.
Yeah, I feel the heart might be the hardest working because we feel it so often. But boy, if you feel your liver, you've got real problems.
Well, it's really responsible for conjugating hormones, and it's also responsible for, you know, packaging up and getting rid of toxins, and it takes the brunt of the work.
Yeah.
And when it's overworked, guess what happens? Then it sends it over. It sends it over to the kidneys, and then the kidney is kind of the central organ in controlling our gene, our life force.
Is that why we have so much kidney problems also?
Oh. I think you hit the nail on the head.
And also, you know, it's funny because one of the number one diseases in pets is kidney disease, and I feel it's because we're feeding them type of human food. You know,
they were designed, Pottinger's cats. You know, Dr. Pottinger proved that you know, animals that were designed to eat raw foods, that ate cooked, processed foods, ended up with a degenerative generations, and it only took 5 generations for there to be almost destruction of the gene pool.
Yeah,
you know?
my wife has a relative that breeds dogs, and they started a few years back feeding them raw chickens and, you know, the bones and everything, because the bones aren't brittle when they're raw. It's only when you cook them do they get brittle. Mm-hmm. So the dogs just love it, and shiny coat, no dander coming off of them. People who have allergies to pets don't get the allergy reaction from that particular pet if it's eating its right food. So imagine, folks, if you're eating the wrong food, if you're stuck in eating grains and breads and cereals and things like that, and then, or even worse, if you're eating the processed food that comes out of our fast food industry, then you're in a world of trouble, and these things slowly but surely will get you.
You know, what can you expect if you have improved liver function? You know, a well taken care of liver can do a lot of things, including increasing your energy levels, help you to have clearer skin. You'll have more regular menstrual cycles.
Mm-hmm. Not me, but...
yeah. freedom from sinus pain. All of these things, a congested sinus is a sign that the liver's kind of overworked.
No doubt about it. One of the things you should do is maybe to keep a little diary of some of the things that you're feeling, or if you're feeling pains in certain areas, write them down, and then in another little booklet, or maybe in the same booklet on a different page, opposite pages, write down what you're eating. Mm-hmm. And pretty soon, I think you can find a correlation what's going on.
Well, that's what we mean. The new healthcare is self-care, and we have to learn to observe and apply. Having a healthy liver also helps you to have just a better positive attitude and a more relaxed mind.
Well, it makes sense, because if you're not feeling any pain, you can see different pains on different people. They wake up with a frown. You're not as energetic when you walk into the door. People like this. I know people. It's the liver that recognizes your toxic substances and converts them into harmless as materials, and then it's released. It's a very, very smart organ that we have here. For our blood to flow smoothly and cleanly, we need to create a warming and nourishing environment in the body that helps the liver do its job best. So the liver is really relying on what you put into your body to keep its healthy function.
Yeah, and how do you do that? You also kind of have to just realize you get healthy liver by keeping things balanced, by eating real foods, preferably organic, and including, trying to reduce or eliminate the unrefined sources of carbohydrates,
That's really the key there,
that's always, focusing on quality sources of food, like we talk about on the show when we share with you and coach you all. If you're eating animal foods, make sure they're not part of the confined animal feeding operations that are so responsible for a lot of sickness, I believe, in our environment.
Well, I put a video up on my Facebook page yesterday, and this was a video that was sent to me by my professor, Eduardo de Lima, or my jiu-jitsu professor, and this was a little hover cam in one of those, what do you call those, drones.
Drones that went over the fields where they were spraying this concoction of poop and urine and chemicals that were coming out of these animals, and the chemicals that they were also using to try to make them better, and they're spraying this in these huge things that you see out in the fields, and people in the neighborhood were smelling this. Sometimes it comes down like rain on top of them. It was sickening, worthwhile seeing, because if this doesn't get you to change the way you eat, boy, I don't think anything will. Then maybe it's hopeless for you. But it's so important that the animals that you're eating, or even the vegetables and fruits that you're eating, come from great sources. This is my passion. This is my passion too.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And it's really, once I started eating this way, it changed. My first step was really eliminating the processed foods. Getting that completely out of my house, and then what you're left with is foods that you can actually recognize as food, which is great. But life becomes a lot simpler instead of more complicated. When I first started on this journey, Paige, I thought, oh, here we go. It's gonna, because I dive into these types of things because I'm always seeking a way to make myself improved. Okay. And I thought it was going to be a whole complicated thing, but actually, as it went over, it was kind of like a awakening for me, that it was much easier, and I just threw things out of my life instead of adding things in. And I think that's more important.
And it's a process, isn't it? It is a process. A lot of people feel like they can't get started because they feel overwhelmed. Well, just do one thing and do another thing the next day, and let the power of exponentiation change your life.
Yeah.
So let's give you a couple of tips of how you can have a healthier liver.
Let's do that.
Some of the best anti-inflammatory foods for liver functions include sour foods. Nico mentioned it earlier. Our ancestors have known. Probiotics, cultured foods, kefirs, kombuchas. These things are all loaded with natural nutrients. Probiotics, your leafy greens.
They're very important.
The leafy greens, again, just like the last article we were discussing, high in folate. Folate helps us methylate. Methylation helps us detoxify, helps us have ideal gene expression. our little cruciferous vegetables.
Yeah, these vegetables and grasses that we use, and actually, you know, when you talk about grains and things like that, if you eat the grass of the wheat and the barley and the rye and things like that instead of the seeds, it's very healthy.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, no animals really goes out to eat seeds except us, and we grind them up and use them as a daily source.
And if
We're
you
not
are going to
birds.
have seeds, you can have them in a sprouted, soaked fashion.
Certainly, once they
be.
sprout, they actually aren't seeds anymore. They've actually come to life.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They don't have those enzyme inhibitors that keep them.
That's right.
Fresh herbs help to activate glutathione, and glutathione is our master antioxidant. High antioxidant fruits, green tea, coconut oil, apple cider vinegar.
And
These are all some great tips.
Local honey, yeah. The number here is 877-927-6648. You've got some time in between the break. Take a look at our Health Signals newsletter. New one is out right now. And please pick up some Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. This is really going to improve the way you consume your food. We'll be right back.
You've heard Nico Haan as co-host of Living a Primal Lifestyle, which airs every Friday at noon Eastern Time on TFNN, and would like to tell you about the personal training studio that Nico is the owner and president of, Performance Training. Since 1998, Nico has trained individuals and groups to improve their health both mentally and physically. As a certified personal trainer, Nico's main focus is on demonstrating exercises correctly to avoid injury and teaching his clients how to manage their past injuries while getting the most out of their personal training sessions. The Performance Training Studio is filled with unique training equipment that enhances balanced results at a faster rate while minimizing damage and discomfort. For more information, you can give Nico a call at 727-418-8740 or email him at nico@tfnn.com. Let him know you heard him on TFNN and save up to $100 on a special package just for TFNN listeners. Act today.
Tiger TV is an exciting way to experience TFNN programming. See high-definition video, giving you crystal clear charts, as well as seeing some of the faces of TFNN's highly acclaimed financial experts with crisp, full-fidelity sound. Catch Tom O'Brien, John Logan, Steve Rhodes, Basil Chapman, Larry Pesavento, Think or Swim, David White, Andy Hecht, and Daryl Martin in crystal clear, high-definition audio and video. Tiger TV, exclusively at TFNN.com.
Has the current market volatility continued to stop you out of trades when the market spikes against you? Now is the perfect time to open up an account with Nadex. Nadex, the North American Derivatives Exchange, is a brand new, completely regulated Chicago-based exchange, and unlike most other exchanges, Nadex allows you to trade directly through them with direct market access when using their completely free trading platform, which also features real-time charts and full customization capability. One of the advantages of trading with Nadex in volatile markets is that your risk is always capped and you have the ability of keeping your trades open even when the market spikes against you. Nadex is completely brand new with a line of unique trading products that are unavailable anywhere else. See how it works at nadex.com. That's NADEX.com. Or click on the Nadex banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Futures and options trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for all investors.
Many of our new listeners have heard about the Tiger's Den, but wondered, what exactly is it? The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of your favorite TFNN shows, plus see all the charts as they happen live during those shows, and have access to all those charts. You can test drive the Tiger's Den absolutely free for 30 days. It will greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets. Details on the Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com. This segment is brought to you by TFNN. Test drive all the newsletters for free at TFNN.com.
And welcome back. I'm Paige Clarke with Living a Primal Lifestyle, Wake Up World, and actually an article in Wake Up World, a great journal, says killer germs obliterated by medicinal smoke smudging. A study reveals. You know, the ritualistic use of plant smokes it really goes back to the prehistoric or our primal age.
Yeah.
It's been used the world over, and it's a way of cleansing the spirit. But now modern scientific research reveals that the practice may actually have life-saving implications by purifying the air.
Yeah, it's always comical to me that when you see some of the older movies and stuff, and you see the medicine man chanting, whether it's a medicine man from the Plains Indians or whether it's from New Guinea or some, we kind of scoff and laugh. These savages don't know what they're doing.
Who's laughing now?
Exactly, because this stuff does work. And you've got to think that these important individuals in a tribal concept is very important, but if it didn't work, they wouldn't have them.
That's right. Wise one wisdom. This actual act of smudging, the burning of herbs and flowers in this ritual, it's kind of likened to taking a spiritual shower because it helps to wash away the emotional and spiritual negativity. But what's interesting is the writer of this article reviewed published research in the Journal of Ethnopharmacology. I said that, even though it was early in the morning.
It was titled Medicinal Smokes.
Yeah, and they looked at single and multi-ingredient herbal smudges. And they found with surprising overlap that these were very effective in addressing specific organ systems, the pulmonary system, the neurological system, and actually dermatological benefits. The ambient smoke, which is passively inhaled when you're doing this smudging, it acts as an air purifier. And they found that there are actually active antibacterial ingredients. Well, who's to be surprised here? We've got herbs and the power of plant medicine. As an aromatherapist, I teach people that aromatherapy is powerful healing resource.
So you really have to have some vast knowledge of which herbs affect what part of the body when you're doing this. And one of the things I also noticed too, that when they're using herbs, the smoke is there, but also usually some kind of sound of chants, some kind of encouraging words.
Well,
we talked about that yesterday a little bit, or on Tuesday.
Right, and sound is that frequency.
It's frequency.
So we've got energy and frequency.
So frequency, electricity.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's all the same.
It's all.
They work together. They work in synchronicity.
Yes.
There's great research in this article about what they found. It was amazing findings. The exact Latin bacterial agents that were obliterated due to the smudging. I mean, we could go on A to Z, but in today's world where we've got hospitals where even the employees are becoming infected with the MRSAs, the resistant staph.
Yes.
And we've got rampant pneumonia and everything. What if we were diffusing aromatics in the hospitals? What if we were smudging? Wouldn't that be something if that medicine man was walking through the hospital? I think we could learn a few things from our ancient ancestors. We could learn something from our primal people.
Definitely. There was a remarkable study in 2007 called Medicinal Smoke Reduces Airborne Bacteria, and it was published in the Journal of, you mentioned that big word, ethnopharmacological, whatever it is. Okay, so
so it has. I mean, we could go A to Z on those.
Well, let me read this because I think this is important. It says, we have observed that 1 hour treatment of medicinal smoke, mansionated by burning wood and a mixture of
odoriferous and medicinal herbs.
Thank you very much. These are herbs and things from India.
All over the world, we've got that everywhere.
An aerial bacteria population caused over 94% reduction of bacteria counts by the 60 minutes.
But what was even more impactful was that it was maintained up to 24 hours in the closed room. And then we found out that afterwards, even after 30 days, there was a marked reduction in the bacterial activity.
So maybe instead of using those little, when you go into the hospital now, just about every little corner, every single wall has that bottle of that material which you spray.
That's the germ therapy. that's
That's
Pasteur.
the phobia, yeah.
That's the phobia. That's Louis Pasteur. Oh, the germs are causing the disease. No, it's the environment.
Yeah.
The milieu.
Yeah, and the thing that happens too is these are immune disruptors that they're putting into these things.
Triclosan, yeah.
Yeah, so it's not really good for you to begin with. Yeah, it kills the germs, but are the germs the problem? Or, as Paige always says, is it your environment? Not only your personal environment, but perhaps the environment of the hospital or your home or whatever.
So change your internal environment by ingesting beautiful herbs and flowers and essential oils and flower essences and herbal foods and whole foods, right? And
Definitely.
then
Burn candles.
Right.
Burn
Beautiful.
the incense, burn the oils, use these things. We always have a nice incense before we go to bed. It fills up the bedroom. We kind of close up the bedroom, make it nice and dark. We have a little sound going in there. We have the smell going in there. We use lavender, everything to relax us. We spend about an hour before bedtime, quiet time, the house nice and dark. Maybe we're doing a little bit of reading. Maybe we're just talking to each other, which is kind of a thing of the past in many, many people's relationships.
Yeah, kind of nice to turn off that tube and just kind of set that stage for awesome sleep. You know, I have a wonderful, essential oils that are available to you all if you're interested. And contact me at Paige at TFNN.com.
Definitely.
I have a special on a nice aromatic kit right now that includes a diffuser. That,
Yeah, you know what we should do is probably put a little page in our newsletter.
The Paige's page.
A Paige's page of the specials that you have.
I want to offer specials to our
on a weekly or
listeners.
monthly basis, yeah.
Yeah.
And,
I think that's a great
I think
idea.
it should go along with what we're talking about, of course, and I think that would be good because when you tap into some of the things that Paige is doing, it's all right what we're talking about. We're talking about using herbs and using smoke and using sound and using your own ability for your body to heal itself. It's something that you need to tap into, folks, because, with the world the way it is, look at the stock market this morning. You don't know what's going to happen from one day to another. Maybe sometimes it's best to turn that tube off and, just relax a week or two without all this devastating news. Even if it's happy news, they turn it around and make it breaking news of some kind, but it's never breaking news that, it's good. It seems always in a negative light to shock you and keep us afraid. It's not a way to live here, and it seems more and more of the world is being under this type of yoke. It's the yoke of civilization, and what we're talking about on living a primal lifestyle, through our food, we believe that we can reconnect with our ancestors and with our own body's ability to heal itself spiritually, physically, mentally, whatever way that we can, to rise above all this, and more important, I think, to endure what is thrown at us on a daily basis. I really do believe that helps your whole frame of mind and your outlook in life.
That's wonderful what you just said, and I think it's very true. We have to create our own space because the world is a crazy place.
Yeah.
And some of these things that we do, we can really help set our own environment so that it is a healing environment. It's one that is where we can stress less and live more.
Yeah. Another way you can do that is pick up some Primal Edge. It's only $89, so you get a monthly supply. You can buy it once for $119, but why not start on the road since it's
a new year and a new you.
That's right. Number here is 877-927-6648. Paige and I will be right back. You know what's cool? Taking something that's good for you. Something specifically formulated to help with weight loss, better sleep, stress reduction, and the need to detox.
Nico, our hunter and gatherer ancestors found all their nutritional requirements for health in their wild environment. But today, our food sources no longer contain the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients our bodies need to stay healthy and strong.
That's why we need Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. It includes a special blend of ionic, oil-based vitamins, minerals, fatty, and amino acids in an easy-to-use liquid form.
Primal Edge is powered by highly concentrated fulvic and humic acids, nature's preferred delivery system. They have been called miracle molecules because, like sunlight, air, and water, life cannot exist without them.
That's right, Paige. They ensure we receive all the nutrition we need to be healthy and thrive. We take it every morning.
Primal Edge, formulated and approved by Nico and Paige of Living a Primal Lifestyle. Buy it today for just $89. Click on the Primal Edge banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Tom O'Brien's weekly gold letter, The Gold Report, gives complete and concise coverage of the entire gold market. Inside, you'll get Tom's commentary on gold, the dollar, the rand, the bond, the XAU, the HUI, and detailed coverage of nearly 25 mining stocks. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock trade. The Gold Report is a long-term newsletter where the focus is on building real wealth through the management of a successful portfolio of gold stocks. With a lifetime of knowledge and almost 12 years of writing his informative weekly newsletter, The Gold Report, Tom O'Brien can provide you with the important market information to help you make better trades in the gold market. Don't let the next bull run in gold pass you by. To get a month-long free trial to The Gold Report, an $85 value, visit the front page of TFNN.com today.
David White's newsletter, The Technology Insider, is focused like a laser on finding the next big things in technology. If you had invested only $10,000 in Microsoft in 1986, you'd have been a millionaire by 2000. Disruptive technology like Microsoft's is the key to these massive long-term profits, and the Tech Insider is the vehicle from TFNN to capitalize on these opportunities. This is the go-to newsletter that identifies, monitors, and profits on mostly little-known cutting-edge companies with great long-term prospects. David's experience is as an inventor of Emmy-winning animation products for TV and Hollywood that propelled a company public. Match that with 14 years as a full-time trader, and he's uniquely qualified to guide you through the light-speed world of ever-evolving high-tech. If you're ready to ride the next big technology bull market for less than $40 per month, log on to TFNN.com and get your 2-week free trial to the Technology Insider. Get in on the ground floor of the next big thing today.
This segment is brought to you by TFNN. Test drive all the newsletters for free at TFNN.com.
Welcome back to the show, folks. Nico and Paige here on Living a Primal Lifestyle. And, one of the things that traders do is sit in one or stand in one position for a long time. And many people in our population here in America have back problems. And certain times of the day that I may feel my back stiff and things. And it's a good thing to know what to do about your back problem. I have a client that comes in, he sits in a truck a lot, driving around, and that one hip that uses the accelerator.
It's amazing how just those very tiny movements can create an imbalance in the body.
And when you think of it, the tiny movements are more of a problem than the larger movements. Mm-hmm. Things like knitting and typing, using the mouse. A lot of times your hand will cramp up. Mm-hmm. It's the same thing with the back. So if you're sitting, and sitting to me is much more of a non-natural position, because our natural sitting, if we were on the floor or if we were out in the woods, maybe we're sitting on a log, but it's usually a lot lower. If we were doing it the way our ancestors used to do it, we'd be squatting, and I had that nice video up there on our
last
page.
week we were showing that the person
Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
This is still the first week. We're in the second show.
That's
yeah,
right.
It's great, isn't it?
Yeah.
But there are some great exercises that you can do. One of them is called a seated neck stretch. You simply sit in a chair cross-legged on the floor, which is important to get your spine in alignment. Mm-hmm. And you place your left hand on the right side of your head and gently pull it towards the left shoulder. Mm-hmm. I would say guide it instead of pull it. Okay.
That's a nice word, guide rather than pull.
And what you're looking for, and if you can do this in front of a mirror, it's really important, you avoid raising that other shoulder.
Yeah, you're working to keep the other shoulder level.
So what you're doing is you're actually going something like this, and you're holding it for a few seconds, and then a nice slow release. Stretching has to be done slow. It has to have a response of some kind. A lot of times people don't feel a response immediately. That's why I use the active isolated stretching, mm-hmm. which usually does stretching in a active way, so you're doing repetitions of 8 or 10 or maybe 15 repetitions, kind of like what we do in strength training. It just makes a lot of sense. In strength training, if you hold something up for 10 minutes, it doesn't really make you stronger. It causes problems. So we lift it up slowly, lift it down slowly, and your body responds knowing.
Doing kind of like a static stretching as you're doing it. You're
actually one is stretching and one is
contracting.
Contracting. Yeah, that's the way the body naturally works.
I think that's a great little chart. I don't know if Al's showing that to you on the
what I'm going to do, of course,
put it in the newsletter.
My next newsletter, and we've got the seated neck stretch, we have the seated spinal twist, we have the back relaxer, the chest stretch, the hips buttock stretch, child's pose, which is something that comes from yoga, and many of these things, all the bridges and the sitting on the ground and the spinal twists, all come from yoga or those type of Eastern things that people use for thousands of years. It's interesting that you can find on the internet a picture of a statue from, they think, 7, 8, 10,000 years ago in India in the seated position of yoga.
Oh, of course, yeah. I mean, and what a lot of people, many of you may or may not know, but I'm also a trained personal trainer, and I'm also trained in yoga and qigong. Many of the yogic poses were designed for specific organ detoxification. Trikonasana, which is the triangle pose, is designed to open up the chest and lung. Yeah. And, many of these poses that come from around the world, there's a lot of thought behind why they did them. It's more than just stretching a muscle. It's actually working on helping to detoxify organs and release energy and stress.
And it's also important for your alignment to realign yourself, both physically and spiritually and mentally too, because exercise is not just for the physical. It is for the organs. It is for your heart. It is for your mind. There's nothing better than going, for a nice walk, and that lets your head clear. It's something important. We used to, in Holland, I remember going out for a walk with my grandfather when we visited his farm, and that would be the walk to get our hunger up, in a sense. Let's go for a walk before dinner. We often had ones after dinner.
I think walking before and after dinner is one of the reasons we see a lot of European people where they meet in the square, and oftentimes for a taste of gelato or an after-dinner cafe or a cake. Yeah. But yet you didn't see the obesity because there was movement to keep that, keep that going.
And it's much nicer in an atmosphere where you can just walk around. There's no cars around. I would like to see, many downtown places have a no walking zone now.
Yeah.
They have in Canada. I remember.
You mean no driving?
Oh, excuse me, no driving zone. Yeah, no walking zone. Okay, yeah, here I go.
Hey.
But yeah, it's so important to connect not only with the physical part of walking, but also the culture of walking, where you can say hi to people in your neighborhood.
Instead of being in these automobiles where we're passing and honking at each other.
It's just an insane thing. I think life would be a lot better without cars, in a sense. It's nice to travel up to Michigan and see my kids, but if we were restricting ourselves to more walking, using bicycles, using our own energy, first of all, less pollution. We'd be in much more physical shape. We'd have a more mental balance within ourselves. And spiritually, we'll be more connected with the people around us, because we actually, in a car, it's hard to meet somebody.
Right.
When you're walking down the street, it's easier to meet somebody. It's easier to be open with people. You can see their posture and whether you can actually, come up to them and have a conversation. It's real easy. In cars, you can't do that. We separate ourselves in our society so much. We separate ourselves from our family.
And it's increasing with all the devices that we have. You can see a whole group of people in a room where there used to be conversation. Now there's taxation.
Isn't that sick?
Yeah, it really is. But kind of getting back to that article about the back pain, because I like the fact that you're going to put that in the newsletter, because these are tips that those of you that are trading or have office type jobs, there's a lot of research that shows that if you would switch that desk chair for either a bouncing ball, where you can bounce as you're sitting. You'll be in proper spinal alignment on the ball, and you'll also get that little lymphatic pump. The other thing you can look at are those standing desks. Did you know, I saw on an article where, if you do the standing and work at your desk, it's over time, it's equivalent of running a marathon in terms of, the activity, the calories and so forth that you burn.
Yeah, I think it's a bad analogy, because we know that running a marathon perhaps is not that good for you.
You're right.
Yeah.
But However,
but avoiding sitting down for extended times is one of the real physical benefits. Another one, of course, is getting some daily exercise, whether it's walking or what I do is sprinting, or maybe on
practicing yoga or
an
qigong
exercise mat. Practicing yoga. Doing Pilates is great. You know, Joseph Pilates invented this thing back in the 1920s, and he used that to rehab his dancers.
Oh, yeah.
He was a dance instructor, and he came up with all these things, and a lot has to do with yoga poses too, but it's a different mindset in Pilates where you're really focusing on your frame and using your core to balance your back, and it's ingenious on how he came up with these items to help you do these things. I think the hardest part about Pilates is actually just getting down on the floor. But he has some nice devices that he uses, the Cadillac, the Reformer, some of the chairs that he has that actually make it easier to get into these poses because we're so out of shape that we can't even do them.
But listen, avoiding sitting may be the best thing you can do to avoid long-term back pain.
Listen, traders, that's the really important thing. Please pick up some Primal Edge. You got some time to move. Yeah, get up and move. Pick up our newsletter. It's only $10 a month. 2 issues a month on the first and third Friday of each month. Number here is 877-927-6648. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Steve Rhodes, host of the Trader's Edge, heard daily at TFNN.com and author of Mastering Probability, a daily investment and trading newsletter service that I send out each morning by 8 a.m. My morning newsletter service covers exactly what the markets have been doing since last night's close, providing you with an edge on your trading day ahead. You get actionable trading ideas, including the exact entry, stop, and profit targets. Plus, I'll teach you the patterns and hidden market correlations that will make you a better trader. As a subscriber, you'll gain access to my 90-minute money management workshop, where I'll teach you the secrets that'll save your assets. The bottom line, I've got your back, including a 30-day money-back guarantee. See for yourself the type of analysis I provide each trading day by signing up for Mastering Probability today. With nothing to lose, this is an offer you should not pass on. Mastering Probability can be found under Trading Newsletters on the front page of TFNN.com.
If you're an active trader looking for that extra edge when it comes to trading and investments, then now is a great time to get a 2-week free trial to Tom O'Brien's daily market letter, Market Insights. Tom O'Brien's daily newsletter, Market Insights, comes out every market day at around 9:30 a.m. and provides Tom's daily commentary on the broad market, including the Dow, NASDAQ, and S&P, plus specific trade recommendations. There's even an update published most afternoons to keep you informed about the day's market activity. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock and option trade. With Market Insights, there's nothing left to guessing. For all the details and to get your 2-week free trial to Market Insights started today, visit TFNN.com.
No matter where you're listening to TFNN programming, you can always access your favorite shows on demand through TFNN.com. TFNN airs live programming every market day from 8 a.m. till 6 p.m. Eastern, and you can view each program by accessing Tiger TV through our homepage. We even have an easy link for all mobile devices, including iPhones, iPads, and Android devices, located in the top right-hand corner of the TFNN homepage. You can use your smartphone to view Tiger TV, but if you don't have a connection that can keep up with streaming live video, then you can simply visit TFNN.mobi in the browser of your smartphone for live streaming audio of all our programs. The mission of TFNN is to educate our audience directly and interactively through our interactive website and call-in talk shows. TFNN is able to teach all levels of investors the technical skills needed to trade in today's marketplace. In order to get the best information possible, TFNN has assembled the most respected financial minds in the country to provide the most current news and comprehensive advice available. TFNN.com, educating investors. Join John Logan as he teaches you trading techniques utilizing the TAS Profile Scanner. The Global Market Pulse, next on TFNN.
Hey, welcome back. And although we're having our little cold snap here at 55 degrees in Florida, you know, in reality, whereas a lot of people believe that we have global warming, the evidence points to the fact that we really are having global cooling. And it's not really clear why, but when the Earth cools, as it appears to be, and sunspots are at a minimum, which it appears to be, volcanic activity on Earth seems to increase, especially supervolcanoes that may leave a pretty significant eruption signature. Explain more of that to us, Nico.
Up here I've got a chart, and this article is actually going to go into the next newsletter under the Lecture Universe, but it shows you the minimums, and the minimums are in the blue section down below here, and the very warm periods, which we're kind of coming up to a warm period. But if you look at 1300 AD, that was warmer.
1300 AD was back when medieval warm period.
Yeah.
We had a warm period, and then it plunged in around 1400.
Yeah, that was the
to
last,
the Little Ice Age, where it was very cold.
That was called the last grand minimum, and this is about, if you're looking at it, is about a 400-year between. Sometimes it's longer, sometimes it skips around a little bit. You can see in the Roman times, 1100 BC, before the Roman times, there was a real warm period. In the Roman times, there were warm period that's from 0 to 600 AD. So there were these warm periods, there were these cool periods. We show in 1998 being the warmest in the last couple hundred years. Certainly not the warmest.
1998.
1998. That was the warmest, and it's been declining ever since.
Okay.
We're now at this 57-degree mark where it says normal.
We're kind of at the axis, it
well,
looks
we're
like.
starting the grand minimum. So the grand minimum, what happens, every 11 years, the sun rotates into a different phase. So we have a maximum for 11 years, a minimum for 11 years. The last maximum was one of the lower maximums.
Right, so the maximums are getting lower.
Right.
Right.
The other thing that's really happening, too, is what I was reading from a suspicious observer from the Electric Universe, the Thunderbolts project, is that we're also having this pole shift. Now, the pole shift hasn't happened for thousands of years.
And we had evidence of that here in Tampa, because they had to actually slight pole shifting. They actually had to close down runways in Tampa Airport because True North and Due North were off, and they had to repaint.
And it's actually going faster each year, so it's actually increasing. We don't know what's going to happen, but you can imagine, we often think that if the poles shifted, they would go like opposite. Really what's happening, our Antarctic pole, the South Pole, is going towards the same area that the North is. That seems a little bit weird, and we don't know what's going to happen. And two poles coming towards each other, you know, what's going on here? We do not know. We haven't lived through something like this. So it's going to be very interesting. But we are going to this grand minimum, and I think people should pay attention to this. A lot of people are already prepping for things like this. So,
and how are they prepping?
Well, what my wife and I are doing is actually buying canned meats and things like that the best we can. And we're also buying some what we call starvation foods.
Okay, so you're saying where there's a lot of people that are what they call people who are prepared. I mean, it's not. I mean, we should be prepared for all kinds of things, whether or not it's a grand minimum or a stock market crash, or a surge where, with like you say, it could very well happen where electrical systems are short-circuited as a result of sun activity. So, folks, if you're wondering why the heck are we talking about grand minimums and global warming and global cooling,
it's part of primal lifestyle.
Yeah, it really is.
Our ancestors did go through this before.
Our ancestors experienced these changes, lived through them, died through them.
So it's going to be interesting. It's an interesting time to live. You know, it's exciting for me. I'm preparing myself as much as possible physically by being in jiu-jitsu and doing this show, but also I need to keep my eye on this type of stuff. And first of all, it's very interesting. I'm always passionate about it, but it's something to keep your eye on. Folks, this is the first week of twice a week. It was wonderful. We had a little glitch.
Morning drive.
But that's what happens in live broadcasts. We're glad you stuck around. You can contact me and Paige through Nico or Paige at TFNN.com. We'll see you next week.
Thanks. See you next week at Living a Primal Lifestyle.
Since 1984, Basil Chapman has been using the Chapman Wave methodology to advise traders of his expert market opinion. While originally hand-drawing charts from the late 1970s into the 1980s, Basil noticed that prices under most circumstances virtually always had a certain number of legs to the upside before declining sharply. Later, Basil found that computer software, which included the standard market technical indicators, enhanced the degree of accuracy in calling price turns as well as market trend calls. Thus was born the Chapman Wave sequence. Using the Chapman Wave methodology along with other indicators, Basil Chapman advises his subscribers of his expert market opinion each market day with his opening call newsletter. Right now, you can get a 2-week free trial to the opening call, Basil's daily trading newsletter, by visiting the front page of TFNN.com. Cancel at any time during that trial and pay absolutely nothing. Get your 2-week free trial to Basil's newsletter, The Opening Call, today by visiting TFNN.com.
You're watching Tiger TV.